U.S. government revoking trucker licenses over English tests, new crackdown. Imagine this. You've built a career behind the wheel. You provide for your family by moving the goods that keep America running. Then, one day, at a routine weigh station, everything changes. A few questions in a language you barely understand, and your license, your livelihood, is suddenly revoked. This isn't a hypothetical scenario. It's happening right now to thousands of truckers across the United States. Welcome to the new frontline in immigration and safety enforcement, the English language. The rule that's always been there. First, let's be clear about one thing. This is not a new law. For decades, federal law has mandated that all commercial drivers must be able to read and speak English sufficiently to communicate with the general public, understand highway traffic signs and signals, respond to official inquiries, and make legible entries on reports and records. This is a Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration, or FMCSA, guideline. It's rooted in a simple, logical premise: public safety. In an emergency, a driver must be able to understand instructions from a first responder. During an inspection, they need to comprehend the officer's questions. A misread road sign can lead to a catastrophic accident. For years, this rule was on the books, but its enforcement was inconsistent, often relaxed. But that era of leniency is over. The crackdown, enforcement gets real. So, what changed? Under the current administration, federal and state agencies have been directed to ramp up enforcement dramatically. This is a top-down initiative. The Department of Transportation, alongside state agencies, has begun strictly enforcing these English proficiency rules. We're not just talking about a note on a file, we're talking about immediate action. In the last few months alone, reports indicate over 3,000 truckers have been removed from U.S. roads after failing roadside English proficiency tests. The epicenters of this crackdown are states like Florida and Texas. In Florida, weigh stations have become more than just a check on vehicle safety. They are now checkpoints for license and immigration status verification. Investigators are conducting these English tests on the spot. If a driver fails, they're immediately placed out of service. And if that driver is found to be in the country without authorization, that traffic stop doesn't end with a ticket. It can end with arrest and initiation of deportation proceedings. There are documented cases of drivers with valid out-of-state licenses, say from New Jersey, being arrested and processed for removal while driving commercially in Florida. Texas has taken a proactive stance, ordering its Department of Public Safety to simply stop issuing new interstate commercial licenses to anyone who cannot communicate in English. The deportation pipeline. This is where the story expands beyond the Department of Transportation and into the realm of Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or IC. The language crackdown has become a powerful tool for immigration enforcement. When a driver is pulled over and fails an English test, it triggers a deeper investigation into their legal status. It's estimated that around 1,500 migrants have now been removed from their trucking jobs and deported from the country specifically due to this aggressive new enforcement of old rules. In one notable case, 40 Mexican truckers lost their privilege to drive on U.S. highways specifically because they lacked the required English skills. But it's crucial to understand this nuance. Not everyone caught in this net is being deported. Many are legal residents or immigrants with valid work authorization who simply need to improve their English to regain compliance and get back to work. The government's position is that this is not about immigration status first, it's about safety first. However, the effect is that immigration enforcement is a direct and severe consequence for a significant number of drivers. The two sides of the argument. This policy, like most, has fierce proponents and concerned critics. On one side, you have safety advocates and government officials. They argue this is a long overdue measure to make our highways safer. They point to tragic cases, like that of a California licensed trucker in Florida who was involved in a deadly crash and subsequently failed an English test, unable to answer basic questions or identify road signs. The Transportation Secretary has even proposed mandating stricter, more formalized English tests for all future CDL applicants. Major industry groups, like the American Trucking Associations, often support uniform enforcement, believing it creates a level playing field and raises safety standards for everyone. On the other side, critics see a more complicated picture. First, they warn this could exacerbate the already critical national trucker shortage, potentially driving up shipping costs and creating supply chain bottlenecks. Second, and perhaps more importantly, they fear the potential for racial profiling and wildly uneven enforcement from state to state. Why are states like California issuing far fewer violations than states like Texas or Tennessee? Is it because there are fewer non-English speakers, or is it a difference in enforcement philosophy? Critics worry that an officer's implicit bias could determine who gets tested and who gets a pass. A deeper systemic problem. But to only focus on language is to miss a much larger and rot in the trucking industry. This crackdown has also shined a light on a shadowy world of fraudulent licensing schemes. The demand for drivers has led to the rise of unscrupulous trucking schools that, for a fee, will issue a commercial driver's license to unqualified drivers. It has revealed networks that help undocumented immigrants use forged documents to secure credentials. These practices are the real safety threat, and they inflate insurance costs for everyone. The English proficiency crackdown, some argue, is a blunt instrument that targets the individual driver, often a low-paid worker just trying to make a living, rather than effectively dismantling the corrupt systems that put them on the road unprepared in the first place. Beyond the politics and the policy manuals, what often gets lost in this conversation is the human cost. I've spoken to drivers, fully legal, hard-working individuals, who now drive with a knot of anxiety in their stomach every time they see a way station ahead. It's not just about fearing a failed test, it's the humiliation of being publicly scrutinized on something that feels disconnected from their actual skill behind the wheel. One driver told me his ability to navigate from Los Angeles to Newark flawlessly for a decade mattered less in that moment than his accent. This enforcement creates a culture of fear that ripples through entire communities, where a simple traffic stop can unravel a life built over years of honest work. It's a reminder that enforcement, however well-intentioned, is never just about rules, it's about people. Conclusion: navigating the new reality. So, what does this all mean moving forward? The message from the government is unequivocal: no English, no commercial driving. The crackdown is real, and it's intensifying. For anyone in the industry, the path is clear. If you are a driver, now is the time to take this requirement seriously. Brush up on your English, seek out resources, and ensure you can pass those roadside tests. If you're an owner-operator or a larger fleet, ensuring your drivers are compliant is no longer just good practice, it's essential to your business's survival. The landscape of trucking is changing, driven by a renewed focus on safety, enforcement, and the complex politics of immigration. The open road just got a lot more complicated. At Visa Intel USA, our mission is to help you stay ahead of these changes. If you found this video helpful, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Staying informed is not just an option, it's your best protection in an immigration system that is evolving faster than ever.